ask you to tell a little bit about yourself, your background, what do you do?
My name is Emily Lovell, and my background is, I guess, mostly in computer science, but also a bit in design and off and on in and out of the education world. And my research and teaching practice for the past 15 years has really focused on supporting more diversity in computing. That's been sort of the central focus of my work. And currently, I'm really excited to be a postdoctoral fellow funded by a new open source program office at UC Santa Cruz. So that's really been like a cool opportunity post PhD to continue working on research and teaching and student engagement in this space.
That sounds super exciting. You mentioned that you're working with an OSPO. Do you remember what was the first time when you learned about open source and maybe also got in touch with it?
Yeah, so I was kind of peripherally involved in some open source hardware projects when I was a grad student at MIT. I was doing a lot of teaching with Arduino and physical computing, and worked on some of the LilyPad Arduino syllable microcontroller line. And but I don't think I was really that in touch with the open source part of it. I think like my big like the shift for me was uh finishing my grad work at UC Santa Cruz. Someone invited me to like guest mentor at a 1 day workshop for undergraduates at a neighboring institution. And I said, I don't know anything about that. Why would you want me to come? And they were like, oh, no, it's fine. Like, there's going to be resources and support. And it was in collaboration with Open Hatch, which was like this amazing organization that was around at the time. And so I don't know, it sounded interesting. I showed up and I got to work with students getting their first experience with open source. And it was just so cool to see how engaged they were and like how somehow I was able to guide them even though I didn't know what I was doing. Um, and it was just like it was so motivating for them. So I started, yeah, just thinking a lot about like how that intersected with things I had been interested in sort of broadening participation, like, you know, sense of belonging and being part of a community of practice and all these like cool things that we know are important to retention. So it was like a big spark for me, that one experience.
So kind of the collaboration part of open source and the people, what really drew you in.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it was like seeing how supportive everyone was who was supporting the workshop. Like they were all people who'd been in open source for a long time. And it just felt like a place that was very okay to like make mistakes and learn by like, like kind of, doing something differently than it was intended to be done, and then learning how to like fix it or learn from somebody else through advice, like how to grow. Um, so it felt much more like a process and growing together than reaching a particular destination or getting a correct answer.
Right.
And how did your open source journey evolve from there? So you had that one experience at that workshop. Were you actively seeking more opportunities to get more involved?
Yeah, I mean, really, that was like that spark really was a spark for me in the sense that I like went home. I was looking for a dissertation topic at the time, and I just started looking up like is anyone doing research on this? This is so cool. Like the impact this could have on students, like what's happening. And I kind of came across like a group of folks who were doing research on teaching with humanitarian free and open source software, and had been doing grant funded research in this space, teaching classes. And then like the next time I was at a computing education conference, I showed up to like a birds of a feather session that they hosted, and like very nervously introduced myself. I was like, I don't know anything about open source, but like I'm so inspired by this. Like can I get like is there a place for me? And they were like just amazingly welcoming and encouraging, and sort of looped me in very immediately to like professional development workshops that they were teaching for faculty, even though I was just a grad student. Um, so yeah, it was like a very quick early experience of like having my curiosity met with like just like nourishment in a way that I hadn't experienced in other areas of my academic journey.